Hi guys, it's your boujee friend Anyah and welcome to another episode of Anyah Uncensored. So Jabari is back again. This is what, like our second episode back to back. For this week's episode, we're gonna be talking about preference versus discrimination. It's gonna be part 2. Remember to check out part 1, which was like last week. Yeah, make sure you guys will check it out. And I feel like this topic just needed like a male's perspective because I was basically bashing men. So we need someone to, mellow that out. And we have Jabari.
Yep.
Okay. So what? Oh, this week's body drink. Some water again.
Lemonade.
You gotta take your sip together or whatever. Yeah, you're always taking a sip. Okay.
Preference versus discrimination.
Yeah, like, okay, in your head, like, what do you really think, like, is the difference? Like, do you think there's a difference between preference and discrimination? Because I'm, like, okay, when I was doing some research on the topic, like, some people are just, like, they don't think it's a difference. Like, discrimination and preference is something.
No, there's definitely a difference. Discrimination is kind of like the judgment aspect of it versus preference where it's just, I just prefer not to do this. But when you discriminate, it's like, if you prefer not to do this, plus you're attaching hate to it. Yeah. So there's a difference. It's a fine line though, but yeah, there's a difference.
I don't think it's a fine line. I think it's a clear distinction.
Tomato.
And I think what really inspired this topic for me, and like I said last week, it was the Roommates podcast. Like,
yes.
They were talking about like a guy's able to state, when a guy states his preference, it seems as being discriminatory.
Oh, that's facts.
Yeah, and when a girl says her preference, it's different.
Oh my god, that's facts. Okay, so now that you said that, that just started a whole shit in my head.
Winter light bulb.
Give a fuck. So, when men state their preference, it is definitely seen as discriminatory. Case in point. I was watching this podcast last week. Fit and some American guys, and they basically state what men are afraid to say. So like they bring on like a group of women, and then they just talk about what men in day-to-day lives will not tell a girl, just for like, to just avoid any regular shit, right? And they were talking about the same thing with preference versus discrimination. So they were saying a man saying that he does not prefer that he doesn't he prefers like slim women versus fat women. It automatically starts the argument of that man is body shaming the girl versus if a girl is supposed to say she doesn't like that guy because he's fat, it's just like, okay, like the guy is just supposed to take it. But like once a man says anything about a woman's weight, it automatically becomes body shaming, but women don't get that same level of energy or same level of criticism when they say the same thing about men. Am I lying?
I think just finish your point. Finish your point, and then I will state what I think.
And then they also went, and I do agree with this, that like, yes, of course there are external factors that obviously are going to account for like a woman, like if she's like gaining weight excessively, there's obviously external factors. I don't know what's going on in her life, but then most times that friend that's close to her is not going to say, girl, some like this is unhealthy.
Or like her girlfriend?
Yeah, she's not going to say, or for the most part, she's not going to be like, this is unhealthy behavior. I don't know if you want to talk about it. Let's go like get help. She's probably going to tell her some bullshit like, I love your curves or the way it fits you or some shit.
She loves her curves and thinks the weight actually fits her.
Okay, but what if it's also, no, I don't mean like just regular weight, I mean like excessive. Like you can obviously see that it's something external happening and it's an unhealthy lifestyle. This isn't just eating regular food, and something just like obviously just natural weight. This is a lot of weight being gained and you don't know why. Like that friend, I'm just telling you, I'm just like restating what I heard. They're basically saying that, but versus a male, where if that guy, we see a guy gaining, where we're going to be like, yo brother, that not look good, because a girl is not going to want that. And then like we don't beat around the bush, we're going to tell you straight, say, yo, you look like get in shape.
Obviously those people need new friends because no, they obviously need new friends. Because if your friend sees you, you know, going through some weight or even like trying a new haircut and you know say it don't look good, you're gonna tell them regardless. Like if your friend is not telling you, then that's not your fucking friend.
And you can say that like without a doubt, like you've done that every single time.
Yes, are you dumb?
Probably used to. You definitely. Yeah.
Like what if I see something and I don't like, I'm gonna tell you I don't like it. If I don't like your haircut, I'm telling you I don't like your haircut. If I don't like that outfit, I'm telling you I don't like that outfit. But okay, what really inspired me to like be so engaged in this topic is how I see preference versus discrimination. I can say, okay, well, I have a preference for dark-skinned men. Like, I love dark-skinned men. But let's say a guy who is light-skinned, or he's, you know, of a different ethnicity. Like, you know, is Caucasian, whatever the case may be. I would still, like, even though I have a preference for dark-skinned men, I would still give that light-skinned guy a chance. Like, even though that's my major, and I think that's why a lot of women bash men for their preferences, because even though they might say, oh yeah, I have a preference for a certain type of girl, right? And another girl comes along who is not exactly your main type, but, you know, she alright, she did it, you get me?
Yeah.
Like, you would not give that girl a chance because she's not your type. And I think that's where discrimination comes into play.
I wouldn't agree with that. Because, so same scenario. He likes type A, but type B comes along, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he said type B is not necessarily type A, but she's very close, or she has. But if the man just does not want type B, then he just does not want type B. So I don't think that's discrimination. He just has a preference. I think
discrimination is branded as a preference after the fact when people get called out for it.
No.
Yes, it is.
It only becomes discrimination where said young man or said man, whatever, says to type B, like says to her face, like, I don't like you because, you know, you don't look like whatever. I feel like that's when the discrimination comes in. But if he just doesn't say anything or just like doesn't engage with her, then I don't think that's discriminating. The man is of a type and she was not the type. I feel like it only becomes discrimination where he says something to her that's like really disrespectful. Then it's like, alright, you're entitled to your opinion, but people also have feelings, you know. I think that's the whole thing with like, well, that's not really discrimination. Yeah, that's definitely discrimination. That's not really a preference. Like the whole Jamaican society and straight versus homosexuals.
That's a completely different topic.
Definitely,
it's a completely different topic.
Yeah, you're right.
Because you cannot put a person's physical features along with their sexuality. That's two different topics.
I mean, does that tell you what the society is?
That.
You did.
Why I also think that, okay, I want to give women their own double standards. I always like to do that. When I think it's necessary, I think women should get their own double standards. So I think the reason why a woman's preference is not seen as discriminatory, and this is not exactly my main opinion, but this is what I grasp from everything.
Yeah.
I think it's because women have been so marginalized all their lives. Like,
finish your point. Come on. Speak with your chest.
yeah, women have been so marginalized, like, for most of, like, when you look into history, you know, like, women have always, like, we have to fight so much harder to get what we want. A man can easily just say, well, this is what I want, and I want this now, and I deserve to get it right now. So I think that, I hope I'm explaining it properly.
No, I'm not watching at that. I'm watching at what you said.
Oh,
I mean,
okay, alright. If you wasn't what I
oh.
said, then that means I'm touching a nerve, and that's good. So, like I was saying, yeah. So men have this whole thing where they can say what they want when they want it, yada yada yada. And I think that women are now just reaching that stage in life, like based on our current society, where they're able to say, "This is what I want. I demand this from a man, and this is what I deserve." Because they've been getting mediocre their entire lives. Well, not their entire lives, but I mean women overall, from history till now, have been getting mediocre.
Okay.
You're told to stay at home, wash, clean, cook, do all those things, right? And now we're finally able, we're finally able to work. I mean, yeah, women have been working for the longest time. But you know what I mean? Like in modern society now, we have women who are CEOs, who are head of companies, managers, yada yada yada. So now they're able to finally demand what they want from a man instead of expecting mediocre and taking it at face value.
I feel like that comes back to the topic that we were doing a while ago. But like, look at the statistics. Like, I'm almost sure I
You
read
have
the
statistics
article.
physically on you?
Google. But I feel like if you check the statistic of all of those women that are CEOs and like, how many of them actually stay married? Or like, how many of them are
How about you
actually
Google
married?
it before you say that?
No, but you can see, look, Bill Gates, that niggas just got divorced. Jeff Bezos, those niggas just got divorced. Who else? Probably the CEO of Pepsi. I don't think she has a husband. Like, obviously I'm just talking like off the top of my head.
Yes, you're
but
talking out of your ass. That's what you're doing.
not really. I genuinely believe that for those women to reach there, you're going to have to sacrifice some sort of, and it all comes back to what you were talking about earlier with, you know, like women not being exposed to all of those stuff from the get-go, so they have to like work harder. By working harder, they also have to sacrifice some sort of social life, which is not a lie. Like any girl or any woman that has achieved that level of success definitely has to sacrifice a social aspect of her life, which means those women probably don't have children or have no aspirations of getting children, or have no aspirations of needing a man, because they're saying, okay, I am going to work extremely hard to reach here, and then when I reach here, that's when I figure out my life. And that is not how life works. Am I lying? You spend 10, 15 years of your life not talking to anybody and just secure in the bag. And then after those 15 years, you're looking back like, okay, I made all of this money to share it with who?
I will
Myself?
slap you with my cup. That's what I would do. I will slap you with my cup.
It's the truth though. You spend 15 years doing all of that, and then who are you sharing it with? Nobody. And then after those 15 years, and then you feel like you want to settle down?
First of all,
You're
do you have those statistics to show that? Do you have the statistics to show that? Apart from the 2-3 examples you gave me a while ago,
Delusional.
do you really think that it couldn't have been like a personality issue as to why those 3 examples that you gave me broke up? Like, do you think it had to be the woman was just in a power struggle was going on?
I mean, probably.
Oh, okay.
No,
In fact, you said
obviously
probably.
they're definitely like external factors.
Okay, okay. So that cannot be the main factor.
My argument.
But you're making
is,
it seem like it's the main factor.
No, my argument is about the people that work so long and sacrifice everything, and then at the end of that tunnel, they realize that all of that hard work was for nothing, because you make all of that money, you create all of this success, all this recognition, and then you have nobody to share it with. You have nobody to come home to. You have no child to pick up from school. Nothing. You spend all of your life working, and then you feel like there's supposed to be some sort of switch. Like after the 15 years of you working and creating, life's supposed to just change, and a man's supposed to just drop on your foot. This is not how it works. Just saying. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying. Continue.
I stand by my point.
Well, your business.
I'm still waiting for these statistics. When someone can show me these statistics, then I will believe it.
I mean, you see it in every day.
Period. Don't talk to me.
Whatever. Ma'am, whatever.
Okay, I also think that like when it comes on to like skin tone, weight, height, stuff like that, I think those are discriminatory.
I think
like I
so
don't even
too.
think like I don't think it's like a preference at that point. Yeah, I can understand that you like even the example I used earlier about liking dark skinned men, but if a light skinned man talks to me, I'll still give him the opportunity to like, you know, prove himself to me.
Yeah.
But I just think that when it comes down to factors like skin tone, height, weight, like
But
that's
you know,
just discriminatory to me.
I think there's definitely like the discriminatory thing when it comes down to height, especially in our culture. Women often say shit like,
You want a man taller than them?
yeah.
I'm 5'2", so literally any man that I talk to is literally 2 feet taller than me.
Or not even that, just that. Like they're always talking about some, like you know, like they won't deal with any man that's like under 6 foot, blah blah blah.
Yes, though. In my head, I think it's dumb.
It's retarded.
But I wonder if I'm saying that because I'm short.
No, but it's oftentimes short women that say stupid shit like that. Like they want only 6 foot men or oh my god, women that will say my man has to drive when she walks. Make it make sense. Okay.
You're so chill. Okay, maybe she says that because she doesn't have a car.
So how is she demanding anything?
Because she's setting a certain standard for herself. Like, she doesn't have access to a car, so obviously she's gonna want a man who, you know, has a car.
Oh, she needs to learn to walk.
That's not my personal opinion.
Okay. Okay.
I think having a car is a plus. Like, you cannot deny the fact that having a car is a plus in a relationship.
No, of course, but all I'm saying is you cannot. I find it so hard that you are demanding that this young man drives when you yourself can't drive. No car.
You know what
Nothing.
what I also think too?
Yeah.
Okay, as a woman, like that's like this is kind of my view too, ish, little bit. But as women, if we are struggling, right? Not even just with women too. Yeah, just women.
Yeah.
Not even putting men into this.
Yeah.
If a woman is struggling, she's not the likelihood of her wanting to pick up a man who is also struggling is
No,
minute.
that's I completely
So
understand.
if it's a case where okay, she don't have a car, she gonna obviously look for a man who have a car.
No, okay.
She don't have a job, she gonna look for a man who obviously have a job.
I understand that, but then I think that there's also an issue where it comes on where it's like okay, okay, just like you said, she doesn't have a job, but she's looking for a man that has a job. Is she looking for a man that has a job with the intention that she herself is going to find a job, or is she looking for a man to take care of her? Because that's where I have an issue, where this girl or she is demanding that said young man drives when she has no
intentions of learning how to drive.
zero, or she wants this young man to be making set amount of money when she herself is probably not working. I feel like that's where it kind of comes to you're delusional. You cannot be asking for these things and you have no intention of doing anything for yourself.
And that also leads into
charity.
like, what do you have to offer in a relationship?
It's true.
Because if it's a case where, like, okay, there's certain things that I would ask, you know, like, I'm gonna make it be known that there's certain things that I want in a relationship with a man that I think that he needs to have before we can be together.
Which all girls are entitled to.
And in my, like, when it comes down to my criteria, I just want someone who is ambitious. I'm basically out of school, so I need a man that has a job.
Which
Like,
I mean is fine.
A source of income.
Yeah.
Like, a source of income.
But you yourself have intentions of obviously working as well.
Of course, yeah, sure.
That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, you know. As long as both
if I don't have to
parties-
work, I will not work. If I don't have to, I'm not going to.
Well, I can understand that as well. My only issue is where it, like they're on the whole social media, like bashing men that are make X amount of money when them broke or drive.
Broke man, broke vibes.
Okay, broke woman, broke vibes, same way too. What do you mean?
That's okay, but it's not on a t-shirt. Once on a t-shirt, it's real.
You see? Let me just slap this. But, I mean, to each his own still. I feel like all men kind of understand what they're getting themselves into as well. Like, you see the signs, and then most men, well, let me not say most men, some men stay because they're like, they're probably going, and it's stupid because they do the thing that women do, where they try to kind of like change the man.
I'm not getting what you're saying. You're not making any sense to me at the moment.
Sorry. Never mind.
No, still you're going to say no. But I don't mind the way how you words a while ago. It just never made no sense in my head.
Yeah, I feel like it never makes sense in my head after a while.
Shut it down. Just shut it down.
But guys, this has been
This podcast has been very eventful.
Of Anyah Uncensored.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for listening. Don't forget. What? Oh, you want to the outro? I'm so sorry.
Yes. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I feel like a YouTuber. Share with your friends and family. Follow the hair page.
AOM hair page.
AOM hair page.
Please.
Place AOM hair place on Instagram. Yeah, some bad, isn't it? Yeah, and that's another episode of Anyah Uncensored.
How did it feel doing your outro? You feel good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can be a YouTuber, No joke.
This week's song of the episode is Alkaline Hostage. Until next time, bye guys.